Okay, so we're now streaming live as well. So I just wanted to greet everyone and say hello. This is King Middle School's Go Team meeting. So we have an agenda which has been emailed out to you and has been posted on our website. So please reference that. Um, let's see. So only members of the Go Team may participate in this discussion. And if there's any member of the public that's present, you're here to quietly observe. Let me ask, did we have anyone sign up to speak? Anyone from the public sign up to speak? No?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right, great. Um, and Go Team, we know who we are. Let's see. So I am pleased to call this meeting to order at 5:04 p.m. And our first business is to take the roll. So can we please have the roll?
Yes, ma'am. So when I call your name, please just say present. Okay, Paul Brown,
Present.
Louis Carty,
Present.
Trish Miller,
Present.
Miss Jones, Amerilis Jones, Dion Holland,
Present.
Rashawn Mulholland, myself present, Vince Thomas,
Present.
Jacob Hackett, we said he'd be absent today, and Andrea Carter.
Present.
Do we have a quorum, Mr. Secretary?
Yes, ma'am.
We have a quorum. All right, great. All right. So our next order is to approve the agenda. So I'd like to make sure everyone has had an opportunity to review the agenda. And if there are no changes to the agenda, I'd like for someone to make a motion, please, to approve the agenda.
Make a motion to accept as is.
Thank you, Ms.
second.
And thank you, Ms. Holland. All right, it's been motioned and properly seconded. All in favor, please say yes or no, or say yes. Or I guess raise your hand. There you go. That's
Yes.
virtual.
Yes.
Yes. And those that may oppose, please raise your hand. Those who may be abstaining, please raise your hand. All right, we have. All right, so we have approved the agenda. The next order of business is to approve our minutes from the last meeting. Now, I did not attend that last meeting. However, I did review the minutes. Are there any corrections to those minutes? If not, hearing none, may I have a motion to approve those minutes as they are?
I make a motion to approve the minutes as is.
I
Thank you, Ms.
second.
Thomas, and thank you, Ms. Holland. All right. Having it properly motioned and seconded, for all of those that are in favor to accept last month's minutes as written, please raise your hand by agreement or in agreement. All right, those who do not agree and have changes or edits to those minutes, please raise your hand. And anyone who abstains, please raise your hand. All right, hearing that. All right, great. So we're then going to move on then to our discussion items. Let's see. Actually don't have the agenda in front of me. What do we have under our discussion items?
I listed to discuss the Georgia milestones and just end of the year and stepping into the summer. Mr. Brown, let me share.
I'll take over.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Okay. So Ms. Miller, can I just make sure we acknowledge that Ms. Jones has joined the meeting? So making sure we record her attendance as well.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Ms. Jones, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So first of all, good evening, Go Team. I want to say thank you for attending this meeting and just giving you an overview of things that have happened. I do want to go over the budget. We did submit our budget with all of the recommendations that were made from the Go Team. That budget does include 2 gifted positions. and we have already posted those positions. We are actually in the process of interviewing for those positions. That budget also included with some of the CARES Fund, the instructional coach for science, and the instructional coach for social studies. There's also an additional technology person that will be joining our team next year, and that will be funded by the district through another grant. And I can't officially say the name of the grant because it's not official yet, but that's in the works in progress. And then we also, that budget does include a community and schools person to support our students with attendance and also support our parents that may need some extra support with resources. And so we have partnered with the organization of communities and schools, and we will have a full-time person here as well. So those are the key personnel that will be joining our staff. All of our signature programming that's still within our budget, as well as some support for students as we plan for next school year, knowing that we're coming out of a pandemic. So those things are still within our strategic plan. We did redo our strategic plan. We set our goals for next school year because it's been a year and a half since we've had a benchmark assessment by the state. And that will bring us to where we are now. Our students will be participating in Georgia Milestones this year. And I was thinking about sharing my screen, and I think I can share my screen.
Yes, you can.
Okay. Let's share my screen. If you go to our website, our school's website, the first thing you will see is important information about Georgia Milestones. And so this attachment is actually in every classroom, Google Classroom. We've asked the teachers to post this in every Google Classroom. This year, the state will give the assessment for Georgia Milestones. And I know that I remember one of my students actually sent me an email and she said, Ms. Brown, it's so unfair. And so I agree with her. But I also said, anytime that we take an assessment, we just need to give our best. And we do want to measure what our students have learned without penalizing them for that. And so the words that what I've been saying to teachers, what I've been saying to students in morning announcements is to give your very best. We're just trying to measure what you have learned this year so we can prepare ourselves to support you next school year. And so we're not focusing on a score or anything like that. We just want to measure what you've learned. So we're asking students to give their very best so we can plan for instruction for them for next school year. But the letter is attached. It lists all of can you all see the letter? Okay.
Yes.
So for those students who are currently in face-to-face, they automatically opt in to taking the assessment unless the parents decide not to. For those students in a virtual setting, if parents decide that they want students to take the assessment, they would have to provide transportation for those students after the assessment is over. Students can ride the bus to the school, but once the assessment is over, parents have to pick them up if they're in a virtual setting. And so the letter kind of explains that. There's the dates that we're giving Georgia Milestones, as well as the contact information. You could reach out to Ms. Luckett, who is our curriculum/IB assistant principal. She will be handling testing for those students who are in a virtual setting. And we've had parents say, I would love for my kid to take the assessment. I just want to measure what they've learned this school year. And so they have that option. But I think the biggest thing about Georgia Milestones, and so if any parent is listening, it is not about a score. It's really about measuring what kids have learned so that teachers can prepare instruction for them next school year. And so that has been the biggest message, and I want to make sure that I say that over and over again. And that has been something I've been speaking to students during the morning announcements. So that's the big thing about Georgia Milestones. And the letter is there. Any questions from the Go Team members?
No.
Okay, so I'm gonna I think I can go.
Well, I have a question.
Sure.
Just to make sure that other translations are provided for our ESOL population.
Yes, we submitted the letter for for translation, and we're actually waiting for it to come back. But we did send a district letter that is a Spanish version as well as an English version home with students. And then we are now in the, and so the district is recruiting students and staff right now for what we call our academic recovery program. And that program is for the month of June. We're really encouraging parents to sign their kids up for the summer academic program, and parents can find that information right up under the Georgia Milestone. That's the biggest thing there as well. Here's our letter. And it kind of explains what grade level, and it's for every grade level. So for summer academic recovery, it will be for our current sixth graders. So during those 4 weeks, teachers will be working with students on sixth grade standards. Seventh graders will be working on seventh grade standards. So it's not working on getting them ready for seventh grade. It is working on those standards that students may have missed due to the pandemic. And so there is a face-to-face as well as a virtual option. But when parents click onto the registration site, or they can go into their parent portal, and that's where they can sign their student up. The way the program is set up, the program has an ELA class in the morning and a math class in the morning. In the afternoon, students will participate in enrichment activities. And for our students, although we are an IB school, students will be participating in some STEM type activities. And I always try to explain to parents, IB is a framework. STEM is giving kids opportunity to participate in some hands-on activities. And so you still can intertwine the IB and STEM together for students. And so we just want to give our kids something that they may not get experience with during the school year, during the enrichment part. The last thing is that Mr. Dow is the summer school site administrator, and Ms. McCullough, who is our 8th grade counselor, she is the summer school assistant for King Middle School. This year, we will be housed at Howard Building. And initially that took place because they were going to be doing some renovations at our school in the restrooms. And so our placement now is at the Howard Building. I actually have a meeting scheduled with Mr. Maxwell, who is the principal at Howard, along with his summer school site administrators and our summer school site administrators. And we're going to iron out the logistics of what that looks like for King and Howard working together. Any questions about summer school?
I have a question, Mr. Brown.
Yes, sir.
If parents decide in the beginning that they choose the virtual model versus the in-person model, will they have the option midway into the summer program to opt in to maybe then become an in-person? No.
So that's a great question, Mr. Mulholland. And that was actually, I actually attended the first site administrator meeting along with Mr. Dow, because I just want to make sure as a principal, I was aware of what was required. So the program is that's why we're asking parents to sign up now, because we still have to operate with social distancing in place. And so it's easier for a parent to opt to move to virtual than to move to face-to-face, because we're building the program based off those students that we're saying, hey, you're coming face-to-face. We know how many teachers we need to have in order to keep social distancing in place. So even in summer school, kids will still have to wear their masks. They still would have to practice social distancing. We still would have to wash our hands and do all those things that we're currently doing, but it's still just in a different setting. But that's a great question. So we have academic recovery, and we also have both of them. So parents, when they go to the link on Parent Portal, they will have the option to choose. There are 3 different options. There's the Summer Academic Academy, then there's Power Up, and that's the afternoon program, and then there's also the virtual. And so these 2 letters explain the different programs, so parents can just go to our website. Also, I did send it out to teachers today. They'll be posted in their Google Classrooms as well. And then it's both in English and Spanish. So those are, I'm going to stop there. I think the only other thing is, as we prepare for next school year, it's very important that our current sixth graders get that immunization in place. And so we have sent out letters for our current sixth graders to get their immunizations in place for next school year, because seventh grade, there is a required shot for them to be in school for seventh grade year. And then finally, we are in the process of meeting and greeting our fifth graders who will be transitioning to sixth grade next year. And so that program is on April the 28th, where we will be meeting our new sixth grader in a virtual setting. Those students will receive a virtual tour of King Middle School, introductions to staff, as well as what it takes to, what needs to happen to prepare for sixth grade. So those are the big announcements that are going on right now. So I kind of hit with a couple of things. Georgia Milestones, Summer Academic Recovery that has 3 programs within it, and then immunization and our rising sixth graders. So any questions about any of them?
No questions here.
Okay. So I'm gonna stop sharing. And those are all the announcements I have.
Okay, great. If there are no other questions, I just want to give time and space just to make sure, no questions about those items. Did you have a separate principal's report, Mr. Brown, or did you kind of encompass?
That's pretty much, they're kind of combined, but okay. I could take, I don't have a problem opening it up to Go Team members about other concerns about our school or the community concerns. I have no problem taking questions or jotting down concerns and addressing them.
Okay. So perhaps we'll move into kind of that area if we don't have a specific principal's report, and we kind of just did announcements as well. Are there any concerns, questions, need for more information from anyone on the Go Team? We didn't have any requests to speak from the public, so it'll be just from the Go Team if there's any questions or comments.
Yeah, just from a community standpoint, I saw that Georgia Milestones are coming up. So is there any way that as a community we can support the school during this testing period?
So we're, possibly helping with snacks, because we are giving kids snacks. I think the biggest thing that if Go Team members could really, because I know parents have a whole idea we shouldn't be testing our kids right now, but if parents could say, the purpose of that is to prepare for learning next year. It is not to say, hey, this kid is this, distinguished, proficient, anything like that. It is just for us to get some data on what they've learned so we can prepare for instruction. So that language is totally different than what previously Georgia Milestones. I also know that anytime students use an assessment, that it will be published and the public makes their own assumptions around that data about schools. And so that's why we do need our kids to give their very best. And, next year in January, they would look at the data and they would say, oh, they would measure our school by that data, and they'll forget we were in a pandemic last year.
Right. So it sounds like, helping to advocate for, what's going on right now and how important this is, for our children to do their best. And, that we're just trying to get some data so that we can better be prepared to help them for next year is what it sounds like we need to all collectively do. And in terms of the snacks, how can we support you there? Like, do you know how much you need or so
no, we just try to do something different with kids when they're testing to give them things. And I can, what I can do is reach out to each one of you individually and say, here's what, because we try to take a post from the kids, what they like. And then we say, okay, we try to offer them a snack. We don't pick a lot of things that are like sticky, but some healthy snacks, but some things they like to do that they would enjoy eating after testing, because it's a high stress time. Yeah. The other thing about testing is if kids who are in a virtual setting and they don't participate in testing because they're at home, we will be giving an assessment ourselves to gather some data for our own school's website. So it's not like kids, we won't gather data on all of our kids. So we will use the data that we get from the milestones, but we were building a in-house assessment to get data on our students using the Phoenix program. And our kids are familiar with Phoenix because that's where they take their benchmark testing from.
Okay. You had a question there, Mr. Cartine?
I know he's thinking.
I know, I saw it brewing.
I've got a couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
Totally unrelated. One is there any plan to have any welcome or tour for incoming sixth graders?
Not a face-to-face tour right now. So there is a possibility that depending on where the district, depending on COVID and what we would look like, we would do a tour prior to school starting in July. But I think that when kids see the virtual tour, they will get an idea of what the building looks like. But we are looking at doing something in July, hopefully, where kids can actually come in the building and tour. Yes.
And that question is really more for parents and for their children, because
Yes.
the virtual tour a parent might want to see as well.
And your second question?
It's related to Go Team in terms of, I know we had some conversations about next year elections, whether we had those people running for that open seat, and then also about potential member replacement for the remainder of this year.
Yes. So I know Ms. Jacoby is on here. We did reach out to the parent who was previously on Go Team. That parent is no longer in the district. So we will be replacing that parent for next year. I think the language is I will be able to appoint someone in her place for next school year. We do have right now, I want to say 3 parents running for Go Team. And Ms. Jacoby, it's 2 or 3 parents that are running for Go Team.
I'll check for you. Hang on. And
I know 2 of them by name.
yeah, and it's not that you appoint somebody. The way to you nominate somebody,
Right.
and then the rest of the Go Team is able to approve or deny that nomination.
Okay.
So
I will be able to recommend nominate. Gotcha.
yeah. So I just want to make it, because it's not where you just get to say, oh, I want this person on the team. It is a governance thing. And you have 4 parents running, according to my heat map.
Okay, so it's more than before spring. Okay, great. Because at one point we had 0.
Yeah. Which is not an uncommon problem this year, but we have at least 1 candidate for every race across the district. So we have like roughly 240 candidates running. So
for the replacement, is that expectation to fill them for the next meeting or just for the next school year?
So the way the handbook reads is that it is supposed to be filled within 60 days. According to my records, as I'm looking at it, that position became vacant on April 1st. The way the handbook reads, it's to fill it within 60 days or on a timeline approved by the Go Team office. So in theory, you should be filling it by June 1st. If you don't have another meeting between now and June 1st, it could be filled at your first meeting next year. But like if you do have another meeting between now and June 1st, if it's after elections are completed, you have 3 other parents who have raised their hand in interest.
So Ms. Jacoby, can I ask you this question? So if I have someone and I want to nominate them and we have a meeting at our next meeting, that person would be on the Go Team for how long? Is it just for this current school year or would it?
No, that position is, that position's term ends on June 30th. So that,
right.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, no. I'm sorry. That position ends on June 30th of 2022.
Okay.
So they would be on it until June 30th of 2022.
Okay, great. Okay, well, I will say this to Go Team members. I do have a person that I would like to recommend for Go Team. I just need to reach out to her and confirm it. And I will nominate her at our next Go Team meeting.
Okay, and we have another Go Team meeting on May 20th, and I believe that might be the final one for the year. So it'll definitely be a great time to do that. All right, we're moving then to the last item of our agenda, which is adjournment. Do we have any other questions, thoughts, comments? Okay, hearing none, may I have a motion to adjourn our meeting?
A motion to adjourn the meeting.
I hear you there, Mr. Thomas. And Mr. Carty with the second. All right, we are adjourning our meeting at 5:29 p.m. Thanks, everybody, and I'll see you May 20th.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Bye-bye.
Have a good evening.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Have a great evening.